Surprise, motherfucker! What's up? This is your friendly neighborhood Venger Satanis. I'm finally feeling good. I feel good. I was sick earlier this week. Second week back to school for the kids, and so that's just part of the course. I have 5 kids between the ages of 7 and 13, and yeah, when they go back to school, they bring all the germs and stuff like that, and I guess I'm pretty susceptible. And yeah, since Monday, I've been sick. But anyway, I got a lot to share. So should we should we do this? Should we get to it? Yes, let's. Okay, still a little bit nasally, so forgive me for that. But plus, I don't know, I probably still have some residual allergies, I imagine. But yeah, let's try to get to all the stuffs. I don't know. Did I make a video saying that I'm back? I did a blog post. I've done a whole social media thing saying, like, I'm not quitting anymore. I kind of went over that in the blog post, and I'll put that in the description below, so I don't have to like rehash it here. But yeah, I'm going to continue to do what I do in whatever way I can. So for the people that love that, cool. And what else? The Primordial Chaos Gonzo Like a Fucking Boss, that Kickstarter funded, so that's done. And we got the 6-issue stretch goal of the Lavender Moons of Ch'alt digital comic. And so I'm really super excited and stoked about that, because Jay Tanaka and I were really, really excited on doing that, because we had such a great time doing the first one, the first Ch'alt digital comic, Under Fuchsia Sky. It's spelled SKA apostrophe AI. And it got good reception there. I mean, not a lot of people, the audience keeps diminishing. That's something I've talked about before. But when you take away the role playing and you make it a digital comic, and your main source of an audience is the role playing game stuff, you pretty much cut your audience into like 10% of what it could be. So I understand why originally that didn't fund, but it's still cool, and it still builds out Ch'alt, and it still can help people with their role playing and with their Ch'alt campaign, their campaign world. So that's exciting. So we get 6 issues of that. And thank you to all the backers and supporters, everybody that mentioned it on social media, and everybody that tried to get the word out. Thank you for that, because if this didn't work either, then I really probably would have just not done it anymore. So I'm glad we got this in the can, and that worked out. With the whole Shadowdark thing, a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, you gotta do a Shadowdark product now." People said it both totally in earnest, as like, "Oh yeah, you should do that, because that's where the people are, that's where the gamers are, that's where the money is." And then some people were like, "Oh, you should do it as a joke, as like a spoof or a parody, either making fun of it or as just like shameless, like cash grab." And even I was just like, "Oh, why not both? Why don't I do an actual real product that people can use and would like, something gameable, but also, as a humorous joke or satire or something." So I started writing after collecting a whole bunch of ideas on how to parody Shadowdark, and not just Shadowdark, but other things too. And then as I started writing, something just happened, as sometimes happens with my writing. It just sort of took on a life of its own, and it's not really, it's not a parody at all. It's and it's not really what I would call Shadowdark, because besides what I've seen and heard, Shadowdark is just mainstream fifth edition OSR. It's just like a blank canvas or beige OSR. Aggressively mid is something that I've called it after reading reviews and you know the hype and hearing people talk about it and seeing some of the stuff on my screen. So anyway, what I've been working on is this little adventure that's kind of got the Chult influence, but it's also kind of a standard-ish pseudo medieval kind of I don't know. You got like you still have caves and tunnels and things like that, but the adventure set in a forest in like a normal like D&D type world, and eventually by the end of the adventure you can get to Chult. So it's like an introductory thing there where you can start out in like a normal medieval world, and then if you want, if the PCs go that far, they can go to Chult if they want. Um, so yeah, it's more of a normal. It's something to sort of ease people in, I guess, to Chult and to maybe get them more familiar with the things I'm doing. I mean, if I could bring more players in, people that have no idea who I am or what I'm doing, if they can hear about me through this this project that's kind of related to Shadowdark, all the better. And I'm not going to use it as like, I'm not going to officially license it. It's just going to have an interesting title, and it's gonna have some themes. It might poke a little fun here and there, but it's pretty much a straight laced thing. So it's like Chult, but it instead of going to 11, it dials it back down to, I don't know, like a 3 or a 4, which is something that I've heard over and over again. The continual refrain of like, I like your stuff, but the things I like best were way in the beginning, like Liberation of the Demon Slayer, or Revelry in Torth, or the Islands of Purple Haunted Putrescence. And then you kept going and going, and it got wilder and weirder and more crazy, and more gonzo, more sleazy, and then it kind of turned me off. So this is sort of a return to form. Um, and I'm also, and this is kind of a big deal, I kind of accidentally backed into this one and realized that this was the right thing. What it does is, if you're familiar with Sleaze Factor 5, which is this mechanic in Advanced Crimson Dragon Slayer, where if your character gets laid, essentially, you get a +5 bonus to your hit points, skill checks, and your saving throws for the next 5 hours. That's why it's called Sleaze Factor 5. Um, if you want, and this adventure gives you that option, and also shows you how in the adventure, it like gives you an alternative. And then in the sidebar, it enumerates or codifies that if you don't want to use Sleaze Factor 5, instead, if you want to use an alternative, um, which I'm tentatively calling carousing, not arousing, that instead of the sex, you could substitute in good food, drink, and companionship, like conversation, just hanging out with people in a tavern or at a campfire or just I don't know where, a meeting room, like anywhere where you're sitting down. Could be lunch, could be dinner, could be, I don't know, brunch or midnight snack, and you're having food with people, and you're drinking, and you're talking about stuff. You're talking about, I don't know, your life and your feelings or whatever. That right there will give you that same bonus, and that's just, there's a B around here somewhere, and that's just the substitute for the sex. And there's an example, like I said, in the adventure where it can go 2 different ways. 2 different things can happen. If you're playing, so you can play this adventure perfectly fine using what's written. You can play it with kids. You can play it, I don't know, with old people. You can play it with, the stodgy, prudish grognards that don't want any kind of sex or eroticism or sleaze in their adventure. And I'm also going to most likely include a little caveat in the Advanced Crimson Dragon Slayer print-on-demand softcover that's coming soon, coming this fall. So people that want to play my rules, my game, and don't want the sleaze factor in there, this is a rich and welcome alternative for those people that want something else. Motherfucker! I think I'm just gonna move my ass away. That's what I think I'm gonna do. Because they just sprayed too. There's like 2 or 3 bees over there. Oh, fucking A. Anyway, I'll include that in the rules, but it's also in this adventure. And it's not the way I'm going to game it, unless I do happen to run this for, my kids or a local church group or something like that. But it's there, because I know not everybody games like me, and I want to keep Cha'alt the way it is, but I also think there are on-ramps and off-ramps possible, and I want to encourage as many people as possible to give it a try and to enjoy it. Some of those people might get their feet wet, like it, and want to continue, want to delve deeper into the more serious stuff, the more gonzo and sleazy and, fucking balls to the wall insanity. And some people might just want to, hunt essentially Cha'alt light or diet Cha'alt. And maybe this is the old age and the mellowing talking, but maybe that's okay too. And so I'm gonna I'm gonna create content, at least initially, for that style, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe people will like that, a less gonzo, less sleazy version of Cha'alt, and it can become just a richer, more, I hate that word because of the connotations, but inclusive campaign setting. And if it helps me and it helps you and helps everybody else, what's the harm in that, right? I drew a little map that is kind of, I don't know if I'm going to use this or not, but I thought it was kind of cool. So I might include that in the adventure, or I might draw a different one. I don't know. I'm going to try to get it done as soon as possible. I'm going to be on vacation in about a week. I don't know if I can get anything written, like finished written and laid out and uploaded by then. I don't know. Especially with drive-through forcing me to have all my stuff vetted by them, which takes just in and of itself up to a week. But if I don't get it before, it'll certainly be done after. Maybe I'll get everything all set, and then I'll send it to drive-through for them to read over and make sure that I didn't break any of the rules or whatever. And then by the time I'm back from vacation, I'll look at the email saying that, yeah, it's good to go. So yeah, that's in the offing. That's exciting. I think I've rambled on about it way too long. It's already 15 goddamn minutes. Yeah, I've said all I wanted to say about that. So comment with your thoughts below. Share this video. Like, subscribe. I never really say that anymore, but I'm at, 1.3K followers. I would love to have more, because that's, every little bit helps. Getting the word out and reaching a new audience. And that's what I got to do to keep this thing moving. And that's what I'm going to do. All right. Have a good weekend, because it is Saturday. Have you all been reading my blog session reports on the blog for the ShadowCha'alt campaign? It ended last weekend. That was the 20th session. But they're all up there on my blog, and last year's 17th session ShadowCha'alt campaign as well. So I encourage you to read all of that. Go to my blog. Don't just read the description below. Like I said, I'll link it. Don't just read that and stop, and don't go back. If you're enjoying the ride and want to kind of peek behind the curtain and see what it's like game mastering ShadowCha'alt for me, and reading the session reports, because it's not just like, oh, then the characters did this and then they did this. Every once in a while I'll comment on how something is going, or talk about optional rules, or what this means, what this would probably mean later in the campaign, or maybe what I should have done differently, or how I liked something that happened spontaneously in the game and want to see more of that in the future. A lot of products and optional rules and new things that I came out with over the last couple of years came out of playing the game organically. They just evolved from gameplay, and you can see that in the blog posts, in the session reports. It's easy to see where one thing led to another, and that became ShadowCha'alt X cards, or the Gilded Die of Satanis, or whatever. That last book I put out, the ShadowCha'alt Experience, designing worlds like a fucking boss. So anyway, yeah, check those out. Read the session reports if you like that kind of thing, and let me know. Definitely comment on those, because I love reading comments and seeing what people thought of it. So, yeah.